because of Joe Biden's Inflation Reduction Act, they're minded to stay in the States. There's obviously a lot of job losses potentially, or coming to Dundee because the UK's not competitive enough. What's your reaction to that, First Minister, and what can the Scottish Government do, if anything, to try and keep the job investments in the city?
Well, I'm concerned to hear that, and I'll work with right across the UK, with the other governments across this country, to see what can be done to try to attract inward investment to Scotland. Scotland has a very good track record of attracting that inward investment. It's why I was so dismayed by recent UK government reports about trying to curtail some of that external activity. So I'll see whatever we can do within our gift, within our powers, limited as they may be, to try to ensure that that investment comes back to Dundee.
What's your reaction to that video that emerged Nicola Sturgeon saying the party finances has never been stronger?
Well, again, that video was from March 2021, as we were about to be fighting, of course, a Holyrood election. It tends to be the case that you fundraise in advance of an election. You tend to spend quite a fair bit of money during an election, and after the election, of course, is when you want to make sure that you can address any cash flow issues that you might have as a result of that big spend during elections. So I wasn't particularly disturbed at all by the video in a way that some of our opponents seem to be.
In terms of transparency in the finances, do you feel a little bit let down by Peter Murrell?
Not by them personally, but I do think that the party has to do better around governance and transparency. It's why, as you know, the MEC, I'm delighted to say, has approved a review into governance and transparency and with external input. And I think that external input is going to be particularly important around the financial oversight of the party.
Do you think you would have been overshadowed by Nicola Sturgeon had she come to Parliament this week?
No, I don't think so. But again, the decision to come to Parliament or not, I've only read in the press that she is not going to be coming this week. That's got to be a choice for Nicola.
A spokesperson for her said that it was always the plan. Was it agreed with you or beforehand? You learned about it in the press?
Well, I learned about it in the press, and Nicola and I haven't spoken, as you'd imagine, over the last couple of weeks. I've been getting on with the job of not just appointing a government, but setting out hopefully my priorities to government, which I'm able to do tomorrow.
And you said that you're also going to look at ways that the Scottish Government can mitigate the anti-strike laws. Are you looking at ways that they can do that in the private sector as well as the public sector?
Well, look, again, any way that we can do that across sectors, we will look to do. Certainly, we have more power within the public sector, and certainly amongst within the Scottish Government. Clearly, as I've already said to the STUC, we won't issue or enforce work notices. As Health Secretary, when I was not all that long ago, I made it clear that I wouldn't expect any NHS board, for example, to issue work notices. So we'll do everything we can in our power, whether it's in the public sector or within the private sector.
Take action against an NHS board that did issue work notice?
Well, they wouldn't. I wouldn't have to, because we could direct them. Of course, we have the powers to direct NHS boards.
You'd said that you had spoken to Nicola Sturgeon recently. Do you plan to speak to her anytime soon?
Well, we're not got anything in the diary. Look, Nicola and I will, of course, speak, but what we won't speak about is the police investigation. Nicola and I both know that we can't speak about that. Now, would it be appropriate for us to speak about that? So I'm certain we will speak in due course. I would like to speak to her, for example, about the promise. She has been pivotal to the promise that we've made to care experienced young people in particular. It's a commitment I've also made, so I'd like to speak to her in due course. But when Nicola and I do speak, it certainly won't be from either of us about the police investigation. That would be wholly inappropriate.
Just to clarify on that, you don't intend to speak to her in any way about the SNP's finances?
I just think while a live police investigation is going on, it would be inappropriate to do so. I think that would be, as I say, by any measure, an inappropriate thing to do. So I'm concentrating, as you can imagine, on ensuring that we have the appropriate financial oversight in place for the party. But Nicola and I couldn't speak and wouldn't dream about speaking about anything.
Do you anticipate any prospect of her resigning?
No, and she would have no reason to resign at all. Her husband has been questioned under caution. Admittedly, that's a significant event, but we are far past the time, I think, of judging what a woman does based on what happens to her husband. So I see no reason at all for that.
Should she be suspended?
No, not at all. Not at all.
You said that,
I see no reason for that whatsoever.
sorry, you said you wouldn't speak for the police investigation. What would you ask her about the auditors and why she didn't tell you that they'd quit before you became leader? This just sort of landed on your desk.
In some respects, look, and these are legitimate questions, absolutely to ask, but I'm very focused on the future. I'm very focused on getting auditors in place right now. You know that electoral commission, excuse me, that electoral commission deadline, which is exceptionally important, and so I'm focused on that. You know, we can look back at why people weren't told, why members weren't told, why senior members of the party weren't told, and that's all legitimate, but my focus is really on the future.
And can I just ask, during your speech you said that you'll never lurch to the right. Is that not quite damning of the large number of members in the party that didn't vote for you in the leadership contest?
No, I don't think they're on the right.
But you don't think that you were kind of suggested that Kate Forbes was on the right, that she was on the right?
I think people voted for Kate Forbes for the many skills that she has, and I still see her having a really important role within the SNP.
What's your understanding of why the SNP voted on the motorway?
It's a live police investigation. You know that the motorhome is part of that investigation, so I could possibly comment.
In Scotland, can I ask, have you ever yourself been a member of a union?
So I think when I was first a researcher in the Scottish Parliament, I was a member of the PCS union, if I remember correctly, so yes.
And are you still a member of the union?
I don't think so, no.
No. And would you encourage all the parliamentary staff to be members of PCS?
Yeah, parliamentary staff for sure. I think as government ministers, maybe we've just got to be a little bit careful around any potential conflict, but no, I would recommend people to be members of trade unions. Trade unions offer not just solidarity, but importantly, those workplace rights, fair work rights, collective bargaining, sectoral bargaining. So yeah, no, I would encourage as many people as possible to join trade unions.
And what about SNP employees? Should they be members of the unions too?
Yeah, yes,
Particularly just now?
Well, I mean, at any time, SNP members or members of HQ staff, absolutely.
And I'm aware that you've said that the SNP will be paying for Peter Murrell's legal fees. Do you know if he's being represented by a union? Does he have any legal backing that way?
I don't know.
And can I ask about this video that's appeared over the weekend of Nicola Sturgeon saying that finances were not to be discussed, not particularly in public, just ahead of the last Holyrood election and just months before the police investigation launched? How concerned are you that at that stage it looked like that maybe things were beginning to be swept under the carpet?
No, I think she was warning about any misreporting of the party's finances in the public domain. So that was in March 2021, but obviously in a different position now. And my absolute focus is to make sure that we get auditors in place, and that's first and foremost exceptionally important given the Electoral Commission deadline, and of course to do everything I can to make sure our party finances are on as steady a footing as possible.
You've been handed a right mess, haven't you, by your predecessor? I mean, you're not got a honeymoon period as new leader, as First Minister of Scotland. This is a nightmare for you.
Well, look, nobody ever said it was going to be an easy job, and that's an understatement at all. So there's tough challenges in the party, no getting away from it. There's tough challenges in government, so nobody ever said the job of First Minister or indeed leader of the SNP was ever going to be an easy task.
And have you discussed any of this with Nicola Sturgeon?
No.
Why not?
Because I think it would be wholly inappropriate to discuss a live police investigation with Nicola Sturgeon or indeed Peter Murrell. Nicola knows that, I know that, Peter knows that. So I don't doubt that Nicola and I will probably speak in absolutely due course, and we'll talk about a range of issues, no doubt. And I want to pick our brains on the issue of the promise, for example. It's something that I'm very committed to. What we won't talk about is a live police investigation.
But you could ask her why the party wasn't aware more widely that the auditors had quit.
Look, I think we've got to be careful because there's a line here between what is a live police and what matters are pertinent to a live police investigation or not. And I don't want to, frankly, step close to that line. You know, as a government minister, particularly as First Minister, I've got to make sure I am not in any way prejudicing a live police inquiry.
Is she proving a distraction to your First Ministership? Is it right that she doesn't appear in Holyrood?
That's a decision for Nicola. I wouldn't have minded if she was there or if she's not there. That's entirely a decision for her. I'm very committed tomorrow to being able to present what the priorities are for the government in Ireland.
Just a question on the issue of Corran Ferry. First of all, has the formal or military assistance gone in to provide that ferry route?
So there's a stage just before that the Highland Council are engaged in. When that request comes in, I'd be more than happy to put it in. I'm very pleased that Ian Blackford has been leading to try to find a solution between the Council, the Scottish Government and indeed the MOD. So I'd be happy to assist in any way that the Scottish Government possibly can.
Is it not a sign of the lack of resilience on the ferry network if the military are having to be called in to provide this route?
I don't think that's an unfair question at all, because we know that there are challenges around the resilience of the ferry network. We know the age of some of the fleet, of course. The Corran Ferry is a responsibility of the Highland Council, and John Swinney's last budget as the former Finance Secretary, he made clear some funding for some of our local authorities around inter-island ferries. So we are committed to the ferry network, but yes, there are challenges around its resilience. There's no escaping that.
How does this affect the debate around independence? I mean, you're drawing on a UK-wide service to provide something that is in a devolved area.
A UK-wide service that Scottish taxpayers pay for, of course.
But if Scotland was independent,
then we would still be paying for that service, of course, as Scottish taxpayers, and therefore we'd be able to use those assets where and when we need them.
So independent Scotland will continue to pay into military budgets, and you'd still expect the same range of services.
Remember, we'd have our own military, of course, to be able to pay into, and therefore we'd have our own assets that we'd be able to draw.
You spoke a little bit about Nicola Sturgeon and some calls for how to resign in Blackburn and so on. She absolutely shouldn't. Even what's your stance on that? Do you think she should step down?
No, not at all. And I can't understand the reasons or rationale for why people are claiming that. Of course, the only people claiming that are our political opponents, and they are hardly dispassionate, objective observers of what is happening within the SNP. So I think we're far past the point where Nicola Sturgeon, for example, has to account for her husband's actions. Peter has been questioned, as we know, under caution. That's a serious matter, of course. But as I've already said, any reason whatsoever for Nicola Sturgeon to consider resigning from the party.
And you spoke obviously about what you're doing in Parliament tomorrow. Can you tell us a little bit about what you will be presenting to them tomorrow?
Well, will be the priorities of government that I lead, and it will be focused on a range of issues. You heard there that I talked about some of those priorities around equality, around opportunity, but also, of course, including what we do in relation to our communities as well. So I hope to be able to flesh that out in far more detail, in particular policy areas, not just what we'll be doing in the immediate term, but actually right for the next few years up until 2026. Okay.
First Minister, as leader of the SNP, are you worried about the party's finances?
We're on a steady footing. What I'm worried about is that we don't have auditors. That's a priority for me, it's a priority for the party to make sure we get those auditors in place and hopefully meet that electoral commission mix.
You say you're on a steady footing. The suggestions from the weekend are that you're skint.
There's suggestions and rumours and political, but we are on a steady footing. There's no doubt at all that I want to make sure our finances are on a firm footing as opposed to.
Now, the party has misled people about the state of its membership. You've lost your auditors. There's a police inquiry into your finances. Would you have expected to know all of that as party leader?
Well, again, I think we could have done more around transparency. There's no getting away from that. The membership number is a great example. We should have been far more upfront and transparent around the membership number. That was a debacle, an own goal.
But as leader, you'd expect to know about all of that.
You would expect to know, I would imagine, yes.
So Nicola Sturgeon should have known about all of that then?
Well, again, that's for Nicola to answer what she knew and did not know whether it's about.
But you would have expected to know that as party leader now. You would have expected her to know that before.
Again, I know what my expectations are. My expectations of party leaders are to know about issues around membership numbers, around the party's finances. I can't speak for what Nicola knew.
But you spoke to her just before she announced her resignation. She told us at her resignation press conference that that was the case. Should she have told you about the state of the party that you were potentially in the running to inherit at that stage?
Well, first and foremost, we knew about the police investigation that was ongoing. It was a matter of public record. It would be inappropriate to go into the detail of a police inquiry. But in terms of membership numbers, I think that's a fair point to make. I think that should have been released far earlier than it was. And as I said, the party is on a steady footing. What we don't have is auditors.
The auditors have gone.
What we don't have is auditors in place. And yes, it would be helpful, frankly, to know that.
So you wish she had told you some of that?
Well, whether it's her, whether it's Peter Murrell, whether it's anybody else within the party, it would be helpful, I think, to have known that before, and that's why the NEC has agreed to review on governance and transparency and financial oversight, transparency and financial oversight.
So like the membership numbers, was the rest of the information withheld from the party membership, from the party hierarchy, let alone the public?
Look, again, I know and understand completely the reasons why people are asking such questions. I think when the party knew the auditors were letting them go, they were desperately trying to get the auditors in place and didn't feel it was
6 months on, you still haven't got them.
Indeed, and that's
It's not been desperately trying then, have they?
well, they have been trying, of course, and I know that.
Is that because other auditors don't want to step in then if they've been desperately trying?
Well, clearly other auditors have not taken on the SNP. Maybe that's for a range of different reasons.
Is it because you're skint? Is it because the party's financially a basket case?
No, the party is not. The party is on a steady footing, having seen the finances of the party. And I want to make sure it's on a firmer footing when it comes to its finances. So I'll be doing whatever I can as party leader to ensure that's the case.
So you say on a steady footing, you're in the black or you're in the red?
As I say, and I think it was reported the weekend, which are very much happens now. Any party, when it's, for example, fighting an election, will spend more money. There'll be challenges around its cash flow at that particular time. So party finances will can fluctuate month to month, year on year, depending on the elections.
Have you spoken to Nicola Sturgeon since you became First Minister?
We spoke a couple of times, as you probably know, for example, when she was in the chamber voting for me as First Minister, we had a very brief conversation. We haven't spoken in the last couple of weeks.
Did you speak about the mess that she's left your party in?
We haven't spoken about the police investigation nor indeed about the party or its finances. That would be wholly inappropriate for us to do. And Nicola and I will speak at some point, of course we will in due course. But one thing we won't speak about is the police investigation. That would be wholly inappropriate.
And she's not going to be in Parliament this week. Do you think that's a mistake? Or is she right to stay away?
It doesn't matter for Nicola whether Nicola was in the chamber or she's not in the chamber. Tomorrow I've got an important job to do to ensure that I'm really articulating clearly what the priorities are for the government that I am. So whether Nicola was there or not, it doesn't make a difference to me.
Will you suspend her from the party?
Absolutely not. There's no reason to be suspending Nicola or for Nicola to represent from the party. The only people suggesting such are, of course, our political opponents who I'm not surprised and desperate to see her go, given that she's smashed in every election of the last 8 elections.
So you're going to talk about your priorities for government tomorrow. Are they any different now to what they were a couple of months ago when you were serving in the government?
Well, again, actually, with new leadership comes the opportunity for a fresh start. And of course, as Health Secretary, you can do things within the Health and Social Care. Justice Secretary, you can do things within the Justice Sector. And what I'm able to do as First Minister, is the new First Ministers, articulate what the priorities will be right across the government.
So what will be then? What's changed about your priorities then?
Well, we will build upon what has gone in the past, but I look to go beyond that now. As much as I'd love to give STB an exclusive into that, I'm afraid you'll have to wait till tomorrow.
Although you did tell the STUC earlier that you're going to change your approach to the new National Care Service, so there's clearly a reprioritisation there.
Well, actually, what it is doing is not saying that we're not going to do the National Care Service. Of course, we will. We're fully committed to that. But we're going to take a little bit more time to engage with the likes of trade unions, our trade union movement, also engage with local government, and see if we can find a compromise, particularly around local government staffing. So where we can find a compromise, I'm willing to do that.
How long will that take? How much longer will it take?
So I think we can delay the list of the timetable as we return back from the summer recess. We're talking about a delay of a few months. But I think that's right to take that time to then engage intensively with the trade union movement, the local government, but also those who have experience.
And that consultation could change the nature of it, could it?
Well, I think what it could possibly change, where I think the space for compromise is when it comes to local government staff. Local government want those staff involved in social care to be employed locally within a national framework. I think we can find that.
And can we expect a reprioritisation of the deposit return scheme, the marine protection areas?
I'll say more about those issues tomorrow.
What else are you going to say positively tomorrow? These are reprioritisations we're talking about. What are you going to offer tomorrow that's different?
That's a really good question. So again, without giving it all away, I hope that I can really speak to the business community who are vital helping us in their well-being economy.
Have you ignored them for too long as a party and a government, do you think?
I think there's an opportunity to reset the relationship, and that's what business is asking for. So I'll certainly be very positive around that relationship. I think there's more that we can do around anti-poverty as well, tackling poverty. I think there's more we can do around progressive taxation. For example, I can't set that up in the budget, but I can certainly give an idea, an articulation of the vision that I have in these areas.
First Minister, thanks for joining us in Scotland tonight.